Have you ever felt your stomach drop when you realized you were chasing her? And the more you chased, the calmer she became? Here's the disturbing truth. A lot of women don't get pulled in by pursuit. They get pulled in by the absence of pursuit. Not because they want games, because chasing doesn't feel like love to them. It feels like pressure wearing a smile. And pressure has a smell. You can't hide it behind compliments or good morning texts. It leaks through everything you do. You know the moment I'm talking about. You send something simple, just to keep the connection alive. She replies late. You tell yourself it's fine, but your hand is already hovering over the phone again. You're not talking to her anymore. You're talking to the fear that she's slipping away. And women can feel when they're being used to calm a man down. Reason 1. Chasing feels like pressure, not love. When you chase, you don't just show interest. You create a silent demand. You're basically saying, I need this to go somewhere. You might not say it with words, but it's in the timing, the double texts, the long explanations, the constant check-ins that don't really contain anything. And she feels managed, not desired. Pressure triggers resistance, because nobody wants to feel cornered. The moment she senses your mood depends on her response, she starts protecting her freedom. Not by arguing, by pulling back, by becoming slower, vaguer, harder to catch. And then you do what most men do. You chase harder, thinking effort will fix it. But effort can look like fear. Too much pursuit doesn't signal confidence. It signals you're afraid of losing. And when you chase like that, you accidentally hand her a job. Managing your emotional state. She has to watch what she says. She has to soften honesty. She has to avoid triggering you. That's not romance. That's responsibility. And responsibility is where desire starts dying. Here's the part nobody admits out loud. Constant contact leaves no room for her curiosity to grow. If you're always there, you never become a question. You become a routine. And routines can be comforting, but early attraction needs a little uncertainty. Not toxic uncertainty, just space. Space for her to feel the difference between you and everyone else. Because when you chase, you don't give her space to choose. You push for closeness like you're trying to secure a result. And the darker truth is this. Chasing can feel like a silent demand for repayment. Like your attention is a down payment and she owes you something back. Even if you never say it, she can feel the weight of it. Reason 2. Scarcity makes your value feel real. Not fake scarcity, not disappearing to punish her. Real scarcity. The kind that exists when a man's time is protected, not donated. What's always available starts feeling replaceable, even if it's good. And she doesn't even do it on purpose. The mind just works that way. Scarcity creates contrast. Contrast makes attention feel earned. When you're not always there, her mind fills gaps with imagination. She starts replaying small moments because she can't just reach for another message whenever she wants. Your presence becomes a limited supply, and suddenly it matters more. This is where men get it twisted. They think scarcity is a tactic. It's not. It's a side effect of a life that doesn't revolve around her validation. You're not withholding to make her chase. You're simply not available on demand. And that changes how she experiences you. Because scarcity tests whether she likes you or just likes access to you. Some women don't miss you. They miss the feeling of control. They miss having a man who answers instantly. They miss knowing they can pull you back with one emoji. When your time is protected, they can't casually consume you anymore. They have to decide if you're worth effort. And effort reveals truth. If she can't reach you instantly, she starts questioning her control. Not in a villain way. In a human way. People notice what slips out of their hands. Value rises when your attention feels earned, not begged for. And the darker truth is simple. She respects what she can't casually consume. Here's the moment everything quietly changes. Calm signals power without words. Calm is rare because most men react emotionally and chase reassurance. They don't call it reassurance, they call it communication. But it's not communication when the message is only there to ease your anxiety. A steady man feels safe because he doesn't swing with her moods. If she's warm, he doesn't get drunk on it. If she's cold, he doesn't collapse. His tone stays grounded, and that steadiness tells her something she can't ignore. This man will be okay either way. Calm suggests you have options, even if you never mention them. Options don't just mean women. They mean a life, a purpose, friends, work, self-respect. When you don't panic, you silently lead the emotional frame. And women are drawn to that because it removes drama from the room. Her nervous system relaxes around men who don't need constant proof. She can breathe. She can be uncertain without being punished for it. Calm makes you harder to manipulate with silence or mixed signals, because silence doesn't control you. And a grounded tone says, "I'm not trapped here." That's magnetic. The darker detail is this. Calm makes her fear losing you without you threatening it. Not because you're playing cold, because you're stable. And stability is intimidating when someone is used to men begging for access. Reason 3. Non-chasers have boundaries she respects. Boundaries separate desire from desperation. A man who doesn't chase won't accept crumbs, and she feels that in the way he moves. He doesn't negotiate for basic respect. He doesn't do emotional overtime to earn simple effort. He watches behavior, and he responds to reality. Boundaries create a frame, and the frame creates attraction. Without a frame, you become a fan. Fans clap no matter what. Fans stay even when they're ignored. Fans keep paying attention like it's a charity. A man with boundaries is different. When you say no calmly, you become harder to control. She respects men who protect their time without anger. That's the key. Anger is still dependence. It's still you saying she has power over your emotions. Calm boundaries are cleaner. They say, "This is what I do, and this is what I don't do." No performance, no lecture, just a standard. Non-chasers don't bargain for attention. They don't chase clarity like it's oxygen. They observe. If she's inconsistent, they don't overinvest. If she's disrespectful, they don't stay to prove a point. Standards make her effort feel necessary, not optional. And here's the darker truth. Boundaries expose whether she values you or just uses you. A woman who only likes access will get frustrated when she can't control your availability. A woman who actually values you will adjust. She'll meet you in the middle, not because you forced her, because she respects the frame you live inside. This is the part nobody talks about. Mystery happens when you're not performing. Mystery isn't silence. It's depth she hasn't fully accessed yet. When you stop explaining everything, tension stays alive. Not tension like anxiety, tension like curiosity. Oversharing is often anxiety disguised as honesty. Men pour their whole story out early because they're trying to speed-run intimacy. They want to be understood fast so they can feel secure. But women sense the need behind it. They can feel when your words are trying to lock them down emotionally. A full life creates natural distance without games. You don't have to manufacture space. Space exists because you're building something that matters to you. And when you're not performing for approval, you become harder to read. Not because you're hiding, because you're not begging to be seen. The mind fixates on what it can't fully predict. That's why men who perform become visible, but forgettable. You see them clearly, and then you move on. Mystery makes you memorable because there are layers. And real mystery is consistency with layers, not hot and cold tricks. Reason 4. Neediness turns attraction into duty. Neediness isn't just liking her a lot. It's when your attention becomes a request instead of a gift. It's when your tone says, "Please keep choosing me," even while your words pretend you're relaxed. It's when you're not just interested in her, you're dependent on her response. And the moment she feels that dependency, she starts carrying you. She starts feeling responsible for how you feel. She starts measuring her replies so you don't spiral. She starts giving reassurance instead of desire. That's why men who chase often get labeled sweet right before they get left. Because duty is heavy. Duty kills playfulness. Duty kills tension. Duty turns flirting into caretaking. And if a woman has to caretake your insecurity, she can't relax into her own attraction. She can only manage you. Here's the moment you stop being a fan and become a man. You stop trying to convince her you're worth it. Fans audition. Fans compete with imaginary men. Fans keep giving even when the energy is dead, because they think loyalty will be rewarded. A man with a center doesn't do that. He lets his presence be optional, and that's why it becomes valuable. He's warm, but he's not begging. He's interested, but he's not hovering. He shows up, but he doesn't chase someone who is walking away. And that shift is what women feel as pull. Not because you're playing hard to get, because you finally stop trying to be easy to keep. Reason 5. She trusts men who can lose her. A man who can lose her won't tolerate disrespect just to keep access. He won't trade his dignity for a reply. He won't accept confusion as a lifestyle. And that kind of confidence isn't loud. It's quiet certainty. Confidence is accepting uncertainty without begging for certainty. If you don't cling, she feels freedom instead of pressure. And paradoxically, freedom makes her more willing to come closer, because she doesn't feel trapped in your expectations. A secure man doesn't punish her for choosing. He doesn't guilt her into staying. He doesn't threaten with silence. He stays steady, and his steadiness tells her his self-worth isn't for sale. But the darker truth is this. She tests it. She pulls back just to see if you break. She goes quiet just to see if you chase. Not always consciously. Sometimes it's instinct. She wants to know if your calm is real, or if it's a mask that slips the second she stops feeding you. Here's the moment everything gets loud without any words. Your absence forces her to feel you. Your presence can be taken for granted. Absence can't. Silence removes the comfort that numbs her emotions. When you're gone, she confronts what you were giving her without the constant drip of new attention. You've seen it. The story view after you stop posting for her. The random check-in right after you finally go quiet. The way her energy changes when she realizes you're not orbiting her anymore. Absence makes her notice the difference between you and everyone else, because your attention is no longer cushioning her ego. Her mind replays moments once there's no new message to distract her. If she cares, your absence becomes louder than your effort ever was. Distance creates space for desire to rise naturally. And the darker truth is simple. When you stop chasing, she feels the loss she avoided. And it's not even always romantic at first. Sometimes it's irritation. She feels the gap, and it annoys her because she can't soothe it with access. She'll tell herself you're being childish, or busy, or acting different. But that story is just her ego trying to cover something simpler. She noticed you're not as reachable as she thought, and now she has to feel the uncertainty she used to hand to you. That uncertainty makes her watch you more closely. It makes her scan your tone, your pace, your silence, looking for the clue that you still belong to her. And if she doesn't find it, that's when her curiosity turns into movement. Now, if you're hearing this and thinking it's about making her chase, you already missed it. Because the point isn't to flip the dynamic so she feels anxious. The point is to stop being the man who is anxious. And that's where the conversation gets uncomfortable. Because the real reason you chase isn't love. It's fear. Fear of being ignored. Fear of being replaced. Fear that if you don't keep the connection alive, it will die, and you'll be forced to face what you've been avoiding. That you were never chosen in the first place. Here's the moment you don't like admitting. Chasing is often you trying to buy certainty with effort. You text more so you don't have to sit in silence. You plan more so you don't have to feel uncertainty. You explain more so you don't have to risk being misunderstood. You keep showing up because leaving would mean accepting the truth. And the truth is heavy because it points back at you. It means you weren't chasing her heart. You were chasing a feeling. Relief, control, proof. You wanted the relationship to confirm you're not disposable. You wanted her attention to silence the part of you that whispers, late at night, that if she leaves, it means you were never enough. So ask yourself something brutal. When you stop chasing, what shows up in your body? Is it peace or panic? If it's panic, it means you weren't attached to her. You were attached to the validation. And once you see that, you start realizing the real reason women are drawn to men who don't chase is because those men don't hand their center to anyone. And the second you stop handing yours away, the whole dynamic starts to shift. And the first thing you'll feel isn't power, it's withdrawal. And you'll be tempted to run back to her just to stop feeling it. And that temptation is the doorway you have to walk through if you ever want to be the kind of man who can stand still while she decides whether she wants you or not. Here's the part nobody talks about. The man who doesn't chase isn't calm because he's lucky. He's calm because he learned how to sit in discomfort without reaching for a person to numb it. Most men can't do that. They treat anxiety like an emergency. They treat silence like rejection. They treat a delayed reply like a disaster. So they rush to repair the feeling, and the repair becomes the chase. Reason 6. She chases what she can't control, because control is comfort. When she can predict you, you become safe in a boring way. Not safe like trust, safe like, I can get him anytime. And once she feels that, attraction turns into laziness. She doesn't have to show up. She doesn't have to risk anything. She can keep you as a reliable emotional resource. But when you stop chasing, you become unpredictable in a clean way. Not hot and cold, not manipulative, just not available on demand. You don't jump when she pulls. You don't panic when she goes quiet. And that absence of reaction becomes a wall she can't push through with her usual tools. So she pays attention. She watches your pace. She wonders what changed. And her mind starts filling in the blanks, because the mind hates missing information. That's why your calm can feel like a threat without you threatening anything. Because calm says you're not controlled by her mood, her attention, her approval. And for a woman who's used to men orbiting, that's magnetic. Not because she's evil, because it's rare. Here's the dangerous detail. She will test your calm the moment she feels it. She'll pull back. She'll be slower. She'll give you mixed signals. She'll see if you chase again. Because if you chase again, she learns it was an act. If you stay steady, she learns you're real. Reason 7. The non-chaser has boundaries that don't move when the temperature changes. This is where men slip. They can be calm when she's warm. They can act like they have standards when she's distant. But the moment she returns with a little attention, they melt. They become available. They become eager. They start over-giving again because the relief feels so good. And she feels that melt. She feels how quickly you abandon your own frame the moment you get a small reward. That's why so many men get stuck in a cycle. She pulls away, he chases. She returns just enough, he melts, she gets bored again. So the real boundary isn't just, I won't accept disrespect. The real boundary is, I won't abandon myself for relief. Because relief is what turns strong men into fans. Reason 8. When you stop chasing, her nervous system finally gets space to feel what she actually feels. Your constant presence can numb her. It can keep things comfortable without letting desire build. When you're always there, she doesn't have to miss you. When you're always messaging, she doesn't have to wonder. When you're always explaining, she doesn't have to think. Silence removes the distraction. It forces a woman to confront a simple question. Do I actually like him, or do I just like the attention he gives me? That's why absence is so powerful. It reveals truth. It makes her notice the difference between your energy and everyone else's. And it reveals truth in you, too. Because when you go quiet, you're forced to face what you were using her for. If you were using her to regulate your mood, silence feels unbearable. If you were using her to confirm your worth, distance feels like death. That's why chasing is addictive. It's not just pursuit, it's self-medication. Here's the final dissent. Women are drawn to men who don't chase because those men aren't trying to take something from them. They're not trying to extract reassurance, attention, validation, or proof. They're offering presence without pressure. They're interested without desperation. They can walk away without hate. And that combination feels safe and dangerous at the same time. Safe because she can relax, dangerous because she can't control it. And the cold realization is this. If you have to chase her to keep her, you never had her. You had access. You had a temporary window. You had a situation where your effort was doing the heavy lifting. The moment you stop chasing and everything dies, it means the connection was never mutual. It was just you keeping it alive like a machine. So the secret isn't making women chase you. The secret is becoming the man who doesn't chase because he doesn't need to. He has standards. He has a life. He has emotional control. He can sit in uncertainty without begging for certainty. And that makes his attention feel clean, not desperate. If this made you see something you were avoiding, you already know what to do.